Okay, you got it going, Deborah? We're going to reconvene the July 28th special call meeting at 2:35 p.m.
Go eat a fish on the phone?
Leave the old man alone and take a nap.
No, he's still in D.C.
He's where?
Washington, D.C.
Doing some kind of free.
He's hanging out with the president. Yeah, he said he couldn't tell what he was doing, he had to kill us.
So this one should, I would think it's going to go quickly. I have not gotten the capital for it from it. Actually, I saw it last night and I don't have a copy of it. So we'll bring capital back from the airport if they decide to go to the advisory board. Gives you something. So revenue, right now we are projecting a decrease, and that's jet fuel. I don't know why it was put in. The good thing about jet fuel is, and Phyllis can probably speak better on this than me, is that it's, you only receive revenue on what you have to sell. There's a direct correlation between purchasing and revenue. So if the revenue's down, then that means the purchase is down. So it's not really as dire as it looks, I guess, is that that's what it is. Because it looks like it's a big decrease.
Before the meeting, I'm on your board, and they're not selling it. People aren't buying jet fuel. We put the jet fuel, what do they call it?
JP1?
No, the name of that thing we just built.
What do they call it? A farm?
Yes, but they said it's not a farm, it's something else. I don't know.
Garden.
Anyway, they're not selling jet fuel. I mean, even though we have, supposedly they're advertising and everything else, we're not selling.
Is both the truck, the portable system, and the stationary system are both fully operational now?
Yes, as far as I know, yes.
It's going to take time for the word to get out.
No, because we talked about it.
Yeah.
No, we talked about it. I mean, we talked about it, I'm just putting this out there, but we talked about it at the previous airport board meeting, and nobody knows why they even did it. And I would think Bob Lee would, but he said he did not recommend doing the fuel farm or any of that stuff, and he doesn't know how it happened, and they don't, honestly, truly, he doesn't expect that, even if people do know, they don't expect this income from jet fuel.
Have we actively marketed the airport to get them to come and buy fuel here? Now that we have it?
Medina's got the airport in it.
No, it doesn't advertise.
Well, the website does.
The fuel sales, but when we sold the most fuel, we were actively marketing our fuels to sell. And nobody's doing anything.
It's just not usual. I was a military pilot, and when I was flying for a long time ago, every stage field that we ever flew at, we purchased the fuel at that stage field.
Yeah, I missed it.
Without exception.
Yeah.
It's just not normal for the Air Force to train out in this area and not buy our fuel.
They talk about that.
They really need to find out why, because they would normally buy it. Either we're charging too much, or we're making it too hard. Whatever the reason is, we need to find out, because typically, it's much better for them to buy fuel here than to go back where they came from and buy it.
They talked about it, Jerry, when we were there, why they aren't buying it.
It's not because we've got the wrong fuel?
No, it's the right fuel.
It's the right fuel?
Yeah. It's the right fuel.
Even our tenants that use that fuel are not buying it.
No.
They're going to buy to get it.
Yeah.
We're charging them.
Yeah, it's a little more than that.
Maybe it's that credit card convenience.
So that gas is not
When you buy fuel,
fuel of choice, it's jet fuel?
Jet fuel
put it in the
is
price.
the new, they put up the new jet fuel farm. What is it, $400,000 we put in? And it was 2 years ago. And they admit we're not selling it. Jets
It
aren't
just got
coming in.
completed this spring.
And they said jets aren't coming in because we don't have amenities at the airport. So jet pilots or jet companies, there's nothing there. They fly in Castroville and there's nothing there. The airport has no vending machines like the pool does. I don't know.
Well, somebody else mentioned, I don't remember who I got this from, but they don't want a taxi to the facility either. They want the truck to be brought out to them and
Yeah,
fuel up.
that was another thing to mention.
It's an inconvenience.
Yep. And dryland farmland and irrigated farmland, how much land are we renting?
How many acres?
Yeah,
There's 236 irrigated and about 107 plus or minus dry,
so 236 irrigated, 107 dry,
give or take. It's
336 or
236.
236?
and the water is free?
He pays for the electric, I know that. He has to pay us periodically, I think, quarterly for, I'm sorry?
Huh?
They do have to pay for the irrigation. He pays a higher amount for the 236 when they build. That land is, the acreage is higher per acre because it is irrigated.
Right.
And then he also pays us for the electric, I believe, for his pivoting system, you know, the electricity he has to use.
But does he pay pumping fees? Does he pay use,
No.
water use? No. So we
Because
are,
that comes with the, when he does his contract.
and has this per acre, I mean, we thought about increasing what he rents the land for?
Well, we have to go out for bids for that. And when we go out for bids and everybody, the different farmers bid this, we choose the person that has the highest
Right.
bid. And the contracts are usually, I think this one, maybe 3 years with some extra years, I think up to 5 years, I believe, but with 1 year increments. But we do go put it out for bid, and then they submit their,
So this farmer bid $51 an acre for dry and $181 for irrigated. And
Whatever
his was the
the
best bid.
yes, ma'am.
And that was done 5 years ago?
It comes up, I think, next year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so we can revisit.
Oh, well, we will, yes, ma'am. When it comes due, to go out for bids again, we'll advertise again.
And what about the land we bought for the animal shelter, the Benderly land? What's being done with that? That's airport land, right?
That's, I want to say.
No, that belongs to the city.
That's city land?
Yes.
What do we do with it?
That was bought to put the lift station to pump the sewer
So the
to,
Benderly land is the lift station?
yes, and he has the life estate on it.
I know. So the land that is not occupied by the lift station is just there?
I think, I thought I'm not mistaken, but the farmer may have absorbed a little bit of it, his farm there, I'm not sure.
He's farming it?
This farm, I think, is raising livestock on that.
Yeah, sheep or goats or something. She was.
I was just thinking why still have it, I'm sorry.
It's actually called Flat Creek Hog Farm.
Oh, okay, never mind, that's not the farmer, this farmer.
Most of it's a creek bed. I
Is he
mean,
paying
Most
us
of it's a
though?
creek
Are we
bed.
being paid?
We purchased the home.
But
He gets to live
He has a
on
life,
it
so
for the
he
rest of his
gets,
life.
You do it on.
until he dies.
Till he does.
Now, I believe there's a clause in there though, that if for some reason he's not farming it any longer, that we can use it.
that was turned down. We're not doing anything. We were gonna put public works out there and that was voted down. We're not doing it.
Council?
Yeah, because public works is polluted. We'd have to clean up the pollution in public works
No,
to make
don't
the
say
land
that.
sellable.
We don't know that.
Well,
And every trip for every vehicle would have been an extra 5 miles.
yeah. So the dog house
Is
is
the
there.
animal shelter going to move out there eventually?
No, it is not. There has been no discussions about doing that. There have been discussions, but there has been no decision made what to do. You know, if you're talking about, around the airport budget, there's places out there that are good spots. The reason it has to go out there is because there's been talks about it can't be at the wastewater treatment site, but that was not in the,
Public can't?
well, it was not in the violations.
It wasn't?
So let's leave it alone until we have to do something. Let's just, we're good right now. We're gonna have to do something, but
And
there's sites out there. I mean,
well, we rent on 40-acre sites will make more money than 42,000.
but, you know, I don't want to start up a hornet's nest, but I think right across from the terminal is a great place for it because all the utilities are there, and I think, you know, we could have a,
Public Works?
no,
Oh.
the animal shelter.
I got another more fundamental question.
Okay,
I noticed that all of the hangars, they're raising them only 2%. The CPI is 2.9, the highest it's been since 2006. I don't know why we're not raising it 2.9.
Yeah, we will do that. They have a bit, they would.
So, I raised it that because that's what Claudia gave me, but I was trying to verify that number and I couldn't.
I checked this morning on just put in CPI and follow it to the government site. It'll show you on the very first page, the graph.
Okay, well,
It has
that's,
in big bold letters, 2.9, the highest increase since 6 years ago.
and so you went down to the airport.
I'm just suggesting we should be raising the rates 2.9. Otherwise, we're giving away services.
I just need to say something because I'm on the airport board. And that was discussed. And already the people that are leasing hangars there have threatened to leave because it's up 2%.
We got a waiting list.
Well, same with swimming pool, in my view. I mean, we got to look at how much are these aircraft rentals bringing us? I'm sorry, I mean, we don't get that much stuff in the airport. We really don't. So the people, I'm just saying, the people we have, maybe we want to, I don't know. You know, but I do know they did bring that up, because they were going to bring it, they screamed with 2%.
Well, they're going to complain if you raise it a nickel.
I know.
But there's a waiting list.
So,
So if they leave, somebody else will take the slots.
No, it's a waiting list without this increase. That's your waiting list.
So what I'm hearing is that it's not so much that we're raising it by CPI every year, that is a thing, but it's like, keep raising it, but nothing else is happening, we're not seeing, there's no capital, there's no services or anything, and that's what we're complaining about. And so Phyllis, we need to address that. Are we going to do vending machines out there? And we should do something because the only thing you can spend that money on is the airport. That's it. So if we've got it, we can get their capital wishes and then council can consider whatever they want to do.
Personal opinion, in the long-term budget, we've been carrying this airport plant distribution $3.3 million, which is a big sum of money, but there's absolutely no detail. If we want to do things at the airport, we want to be successful, my suggestion is, let's start with the basics. Let's start with security. There's no fence around the airport.
We're doing it. That's what they're doing.
That's what I'm just leading up to. We should detail the things that we want to do and price them out in small packages so we can do them when we can, instead of putting this humongous price tag on there with no definition of what it means.
Where is
That's my
that?
case.
Where is that?
Well, it's in the budget. If you look in the 2018 budget and look in the out years, it says $3.3 million for airport plant / distribution. 3.3 million. It doesn't say what it is.
That's the lift station.
where are you talking about?
That's not the
I'm
lift
talking
station.
about in the 2018 approved budget,
That's the lift station.
not in this budget. Yes, it's in here. Capital.
So are we finished with revenue on the airport side?
No, what about that lease? Do we still lease, does the city still pay the airport for water?
I don't.
Yes.
So is that here?
I don't know.
I don't see it. We pay,
I
what,
know.
$50,000 a year for water?
That was
at
a
the
one-time,
airport.
that was a one-time.
Oh, it's not done anymore? That's over with?
When the city went back a few years and re-upped the lease to the airport as far as the water, I think it's a one-time,
I've read it.
So we don't pay them anymore? Right?
Well, we've got it leased for, what, 10 years?
It's a lease for a number of years that we paid.
But it's a one-time.
And it's a good deal. I can't remember what it was, but we're not paying.
It's in the,
It was,
Well, don't we own the, we don't own the well?
well, yes,
We do?
The airport does.
yes. And the city purchases or leases
We
water.
lease it from the airport.
Why?
The city don't own the well?
No, the airport does.
We own the airport?
No.
No, okay.
It can be taken back from us at any time by the federal government.
There's a reversion clause in the grant. for
Yes.
the-
But the money for the water lease doesn't go to the government, it goes to the airport. That's what,
Yeah, the airport's supposed to operate on its own budget, on its own account.
but that's not on,
I don't see it on here.
and it's not a item.
Because there's no expenditure this year, there's already a lease that's been paid in previous years.
So it's
When
government.
it came due, the 10 years ran out, and I think that was when Mr. Hoffman was here, they went ahead and re-upped it for the, I think the amount that the city had already discussed with, I guess, with itself. And we made a one-time payment.
What did we pay, or I guess we didn't, who built the fueling facility? The city?
Match.
I think it came out of airport funds.
What did we pay for it?
420,000.
Where would I see it here? But it'll be in last year's?
it'll be in your, if you look, it's in your capital, it's in your,
Oh,
it's in your depreciation. It'll be, you won't see the actual facility here because that's a balance sheet item. Where you see it on here is a depreciation item. So you really wouldn't see it on this. It's not an operational spend.
So it has set back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm on the airport board, and I know people hate the airport, and I know people love the airport, but we've got the airport and we need to do something, and they, honestly and truly, that 2% increase, it almost drove people away. And that airport already is, I don't even know if it's self-sustaining, but we're stuck with it, so we need to do something. So maybe, I don't know, with your capital improvements, I don't know, but we've got to do something with that airport. We've got
One of those
to.
leases, though, that they sign that knowing that it's gonna go up each year.
Well, it didn't. It didn't go up that much last year.
Well, it goes up,
And it says in there,
It
it goes
depends
up by
on
the
what
amount of the
it is that-
CPI.
Yeah.
it depends on what it is that year,
But
but
it's an airport, it's an all-boys club. It is. They're people that everybody knows, they're friends, so we're going to stay here and have our airplane. And I really don't, but we need to capitalize on our airport. We've got to get this thing, we've got to do something. We can't let them, I mean, it's like a wasted
So it
revenue.
Like the swimming pool?
Yeah. But this is a lot more money. We could make money. We need somebody financially looking at this stuff.
The airport makes money, it does not lose money.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is a positive.
It has to by law.
It is.
Well, if you consider a ramp grant, and if you consider all this other kind of stuff, yeah, but what happens with Edwards and farmland and irrigation? We're not making money off that. Irrigated farmland, 42,000, that's 236 acres.
Get somebody to bid higher.
Well,
That's
no,
what
I don't think we should be depending on farmland for the airport.
What do you want to do with it?
Develop it,
How?
40-acre lots,
well, it has to be.
You could probably lease the water rights out.
make more
and make
money.
more money than you're making from the farm,
Yeah.
if you just do the math.
How much acre feet do you have?
243 acres, you got whatever it is. You got that many acre feet.
5,000, 6,000 an
And the
acre foot.
airport itself didn't have water?
Well, the city itself had, what, 900 and something?
I thought it did. They said Hondo got all
Including the
the water.
including
I think you need to go back and read the presentation when we went through that.
What, when you did it?
Yeah, go back and look at the presentation. We went through this when this was brought up before. This is old stuff. You give away the water, you're gonna have to purchase it and drop
I
it.
didn't say give it away, I said lease it by the year. You make more money than you will from the farmer.
I agree.
Okay,
It's happening.
I'm not gonna go there because I have a different opinion of
Then
it.
you don't lose it, you just lease it for the year.
Okay. That's not a dog to hunt today.
Another issue, the airport advisory board started about 16 years ago, when I was a member, laying out a long-term plan.
Oh, they
And-
did?
Yes, they did. If you look, you'll find it. Mike and I were on the board when we wrote it 15 years ago. Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Now, if we don't do any long-term planning for the airport, if we don't come up with a vision for the airport, we're never going to get there, because it's going to take a long lead time, both for the city and for the prospective users. Let's just say a company in San Antonio wanted to bring their 3 jets and put them out here. It would take them at least 5 years of planning to do that. It wouldn't happen just because you said we had a hangar. So you need to start way in advance and create a plan for the airport and market it. And we can do better than what we're making off the farming. We could put a perimeter road around the airport and create 20 commercial pads that have backups to the runway. And we could sell or lease those pads and have people build their own buildings and give them to us in 30 years. And we'd have a booming business at the airport. But we don't think ahead. We talked about this 17 years ago. And absolutely nothing has happened.
Was it
I'll
because of
shut
the
up.
council?
I was on the airport advisory.
Part of the council though? Was it the council reason? it
I
didn't
don't
happen?
know the reasons, because I left the board after a few years because nothing was happening. Anyway,
I think some of it's funding, the city can't afford to do a lot of it.
and it would take investment, you have to build a road. And then,
Our airport manager was the ones getting grants for us.
We
Now
had
don't
a phenomenal airport manager.
Yeah, but we don't
let
have
him
that
go.
anymore.
We let him get away from us
Who
because
was
of
that?
pay. Timmy Booth. He brought a ton of money to this.
I heard it was something other than pay.
I really lack vision out there.
Huh?
We lack
We lack vision at the airport.
I just think we need to do something with this, but we don't have the money now, but I don't know how you guys would go forward. But we need to make it profitable. It's a revenue source, and this isn't doing it with irrigated farmland, or leasing
We
the
have-
city water.
Severe security problem out there. Got no perimeter fence. We have no way.
That's a Bob Lee thing.
The chief has no way of knowing if aircraft are landing out there at night, if they choose not to turn on the Unicom lights, he doesn't know that.
That's right.
They could be landing out there all night doing all kinds of nefarious things, and we have no idea they're even there. We should have a system that tells the chief if an airplane lands and doesn't turn the lights on, there's probably a bad reason for it. He ought to know. And they have those for $500. He would be told automatically, there's an airplane on your runway. But we don't have anything. And we do need a security fence. Just about every airport in the country has security fences. The people have millions of dollars of investment out there, and it's not even protected.
And I heard they're running
Anything
trucks,
else?
by the way. At night, without the light.
So they're doing Chinese.
They call one at the San Antonio Airport,
Chinese.
trying to
Okay, let's
get
move
Mexico.
on. Anything else?
So is there any resolution for what we do at the airport, just let the board go on hoping? Or that's
I
capital
think,
improvements?
I think we should get with the advisory board and have them do a, come talk to council.
They need a vision, they need a
And
plan,
I know that's what they're working on,
they need to get it done.
yeah.
Well, we're building a fence around the airport, you said, as we speak.
Well, they have a fence, I don't know if it's around the airport, I don't know, I think it's, I don't think it's a perimeter fence.
Parts of it are just barbed wire, triple strand barbed
Just a
wire.
cattle fence.
Yeah, it's not a security fence, it's
Yeah, I
an animal
don't know, I
fence.
don't know what,
But it was on their wish list. We discussed it at length. Yeah.
I can see that.
And another problem we have at the airport that's going to come back to bite the city is the water runoff is tremendous on the south side of the airport, and it's creating damage to patrons that are people that live along the edge of the airport on the south side. And one of these days, we're going to end up in trouble.
Okay.
We need to do something about it.
Okay, you want to move on to utility fund? This is mine. Okay, so
I don't want it, I have that. No. No.
Just don't go through
okay, so let's start with the revenue. So revenue, we're projecting a decrease in revenue, and that is because of, that we didn't raise rates last year, and that's what our budget was based on, the increase in rates, so that's why there's that difference. We have, most of the items are just, you know, just adjusting for historical or whatever reasons. The big items that we're I know we're going to be talking about is the water, electric, wastewater, gas. If we have, as I said, at the council meeting, generally we have raised water, wastewater by 4% and lowered electric by 2%. We'll discuss this when we get to the,
And this is on this budget,
Yes.
yes.
when we get into the fee schedule. If we'll just wait till then, we'll discuss that and get your, and then you can see where all that is. All right, so if we would just wait to talk about the revenue and talk about that, I just hear the comments, please.
So that city electric and water is what we pay for the water and electric?
No, the city electric and water is what the city pays itself. Like City Hall, we use electric and water, and we pay, the general fund pays the electric fund.
So the franchise is what we pay.
The franchise is what we get. The revenue is the franchise that we get from the use of
what we buy.
No, the franchise is what we charge people to coming into the city to use our, like CPS, gas, that's what that franchise. That's what that is. That's revenue to us. So, unless there's a question on these other things, if we'll wait till we get the comprehensive fee schedule.
I got this to I'd like to clarify. You said, how does the number, you said we put electric down 2 and water and sewer up 2. Up 4?
Yes.
Okay, how does that compare to what was recommended by the study that we just?
We used the rate study, we only, okay. So, let's, like I said, mosquito. When we get to the rate, to the fee schedule, we'll explain that a little bit better, because we'll get all the paperwork in front of you, all right, so, anyway, so we.
It's over on Tim now.
Okay, so unless y'all have any questions about the other revenues, if we can move on to the expenditures. Okay, so taxes are there's 2 pages, so we're doing areas. So keep that, okay. Yeah, like that.
How many people?
That should be it.
No, how many people in public works?
Well,
Well,
Ray's
Electric,
then we have that,
2 in the water,
and then here's 2.
Raise in wastewater treatment, and then administration, I believe there's 4.
administration liability.
Public Works Director, the Public Works Operations Manager, the Secretary, and
everyone have one?
Do we still have a meter reader?
We have a position,
positions vacant right now.
One quit?
and she did, that was included in the total.
These are 2.
2 pages each.
One more? Very good.
Okay, so in utility admin, so, let's see. Usually, debt. Depreciation. So that's really just the number. So really, actually, we should have cut that off before that.
Which one?
Utility admin, we're showing a $2,000 increase. Oh, not $150,000, that's depreciation, that's not, an operation.
That's not a budget.
It's not a budget number, so it's actually $2,155 for saying utility admin is going to increase. And those are just those audit, auditing is a big one. For our contract.
Auditing meaning,
Our audit, yes, they are on audit. So if you might have any questions on utility admin,
How come Public Works Director don't have any numbers?
oh, that needs to be, because he's rolled up into the salaries. We don't track him separately, he's just an employee, he's not special.
I had a question, there's no line number. T, computer maintenance, is that in our IT department? Or
Now, this is, so, I'm sorry, what number?
There's no number.
94.
Oh, we can't see that.
Yeah, it's really small.
Computer
And
Four.
that would be the IT department?
That would be IT, yes, and this is, that is where the pay for the IT and the utility fund. So it's supposed to be
Would that mean SCADA and all those other?
No, the SCADA would be in the department that is either water or wastewater, wherever. It's got to be computers and that. You know, something. So that's what that is. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to gas. One page. Gas, saying there's no place in gas.
And this is how many people? One?
None.
No, this is just a department.
This is just a part of it.
And how often do we do the gas shelter integrity testing? One, two. Gas line utility testing, it's one,
Yeah, that's, gas line utility testing needs to be done.
It hasn't been done.
It hasn't been done, and it keeps getting pushed and pushed, and that's a discussion that we need to have over there.
well, we have the money, right?
It is in this year's budget, but it hasn't been done. And then it's been pushed out from next year's budget into the next year. So that does need to be done. But we're going to be able to answer that question better as to why. And I know that it needs to be pushed.
Is it reasonable to keep the same price if you push it out another year? It's going to cost you more money.
You're, okay, yeah.
Probably have to go back out for bids.
It's going to cost you at least whatever the CPI is plus the cost to refigure it. Probably have to put more money in.
Okay. If we're done with gas, let's skip over to garbage, because that's what I can find. I'm looking for wastewater and electric. She must have done something with it. If that's agreeable. Here. Would you like to just ask me what the wastewater and electric and water?
Yeah, the funds, the tax.
Oh, okay, I see that.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to
Found them.
13 rolls.
Garbage.
Sorry. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can do that.
So on garbage, we're looking at an increase of 173,415. So
The contract,
that's just our contract. It goes up by 3% every year. Whether you want it or not. That's it, that's all I can say about garbage.
On that issue, a number of other communities I'm aware of have real garbage bins for recycling, whereas we have buckets, basically. The fact is that a lot of people I know, myself included, probably put out more material for recycling than we do for garbage.
Oh, and,
And is it possible to interrogate the provider about having real garbage cans or recycling cans rather than bins?
Okay.
They used to do that, but now they just throw it all in the garbage truck. They sort that out with the other one.
Sort of, yeah, but I mean, at the volume, I'm usually putting out twice or three times as much recycling as I do garbage, so I'm making two trips to curb.
I think that question was asked in the past by a previous council person, and I was gonna say, they looked into maybe getting the big ones like San Antonio, but it's gonna cost you as a person think to get one. I'm not swearing it, but I do know they had that conversation.
They'll also have to bring in a truck because the truck that they use for recycling doesn't have a lift on it. So,
Correct.
if that was a possibility to discuss that with the waste management.
Why is the city attorney, why is he involved in sewage garbage? I mean, we have garbage.
They're non-departmental.
I think it's split it up between all the departments.
Yeah, he is,
That's their service.
Yeah, that's non-departmental, I think it's just the way the rules. Yeah, I think we missed the title, I didn't type the title in on that one. That's my fault, so that's under utilities on that part, that's a non-departmental. So, okay, so we'll move on to wastewater. Next page.
How many people in wastewater?
Wastewater, how many people in wastewater are you doing? I'm sorry, how many people in wastewater?
Three. And then one,
Three, just three, we have one position that's open. Okay, so we're proposing to go up $74,000 in this budget, and that is because I put as a placeholder under TCEQ, $100,000. That's just, we have no idea what's going to go on. We're still in trying to tie down numbers and everything, and so just to have something there in case we need it, that's what we do.
So,
Hope not, but hopefully that's just going to be fixing our system, that it's actually going to be put into our infrastructure, but it could be. I mean, we're still hopeful that they're going to wipe out most, if not all, of these, but we're still working. Linda has been doing a very good job, and she's been in contact with them, and she's going to have something to them by their deadline, by their reporting time next week. So they've indicated they're very happy with the way it's going, but we have some issues that we have to address. They're happy that we have a plan for addressing them. So,
Is the bed and banks permit in here?
no, that's a separate.
Shouldn't we have it in here?
We need to, but I didn't really know that we were going to go that route until Tuesday night. So that's probably going to be one of those things that we'll have to do in the amended budget. We'll just come back and have an amended budget when we get to it.
Anything else?
Electric, this is one of the ones that we're going to see increasing salary, that's because we are recommending that we hire another electric person. How many we got?
there are currently three, this one, additional position makes a total of four.
right, does that include service personnel and everybody does meter reading, or is that a mix?
At this point, everybody is viewing because we don't have to do it.
But I meant they're also, they're doing that in addition to being actual service technicians.
Right now, there is.
CPS will do our maintenance on the electric system.
They help us with it.
Value-added services, what is it? Per hour?
$10,000.
$10,000.
tell me what ROW stands for?
Right away. This is the one that-
So, I have a question. So 195 is what we pay. I'm still trying to figure out what do we actually pay for electric to sell? 195?
Well, yeah, it's right now, it's 232 million.
That's what we pay for?
495, that's what it is for this. And we are still working on that number, trying to get it done, so that's where I'm at. So, all right, any questions? We move on to water. We have,
In the water department, we have two, and we've added another position.
we're asking for another person.
So the water lead, 226? That's,
Yes, so this was the last year of that payment, or last year, the last year of that, this year.
so this coming year, we're going to be paying 31?
Yeah, let me look at the other side of that. I'm going to get that, I'll get that. We can have that in mind, the conversation we had, I'll get back to you on that, but yes, this is the last year of the water.
And 259, that was in capital improvement, the River Bluff water tank?
So you're, 239. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That was, yes, that.
239?
Yeah, that's
So that
gone.
shouldn't be on here.
That was gone. They got it moved out. Because we weren't funding it, so we moved some of these out.
Our water acquisition fund, where does that fall?
There's money.
Okay. Water acquisition fund, where does that in?
That's a fund by itself.
So that's separate. And drainage fees?
Same thing as a step
Separate. So that's not going to be in this?
No, we just brought you the name one time, we did that, the small ones. And that's basically showing, we'll show you how much money we have now. Okay. Where'd you go?
Where is the cost to close out well number 4 or 3, whichever one we have to seal? It's going to cost us money to fill it up with cement. Where's the budget for that?
I don't think we've got a determination to do that yet. That has to go before council.
I thought we were directed by Edwards Aquifer Authority to shut it down because it's polluting the rock.
I wouldn't worry about that. That's the-
I don't think that they told us that, I think they told us there are problems, but I don't think they said.
Sulfur that's going down in the aquifer, there's
Oh, no.
a hole.
There's been no information put out about that.
I think somebody better ask Larry.
I don't know. That's new information.
I heard it in this room somewhere.
I think they're talking about the casing being,
Yeah, there's 2 holes in it. One's up high, and that's where the sloper's going in, and it's going down to the bottom, going straight on down.
I don't remember
And
sulfur.
we had to cap the well, And since there's no casing around the metal, we've got to fill the hole with cement. That's what I heard in this room from somebody in the meeting.
I don't remember sulfur being in that conversation.
Yes, that's the problem.
I think we have to give them direction as far as where we want to go. They just can't arbitrarily put that stuff in there as a big ticket item.
The well's offline though, right?
Yes.
Still offline.
It's, yeah, everything's good right now. But
Because I couldn't understand why we could still use that water for firefighting. We could still use it for a lot of things, even though it smells like sulfur. That wouldn't stop it from putting out a fire. There's all kinds of uses for water that's just not suitable to drink. I hate to think if we had a well, we can get that water out of it, we wouldn't want to plug it up. But
For firefighting, you need a distribution system. Since we only have one of those, it'd have to be mixed with our potable water.
just don't see it in here.
Yeah, so.
I think we get some more papers.
I think she went out to go find a tree.
Y'all may have to up my office supplies.
Yeah.
Go with an axe.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having a paper issue. You got it. You know, Sherry gave it to you, weren't you?
Yeah, I have it. Oh, good.
Yeah, got it.
I had that from the beginning.
Yeah, y'all did. We forgot
Y'all
it.
need one?
Yeah. Sorry. Mary Jo, did you put some for seniority? Do you have the, question in there? Sorry about that. Okay. So, what this shows you on the equipment, this is what we already discussed, the animal control vehicle and the police car. So this is public works, this is what we have to discuss. So the So as you can see, Larry has identified in the years that we need to take care of these items. We have a dump truck, an extended cab, a backhoe, and a wheel loader and a motor grader that we want to see to include in 2019. And those are included in the budget. And basically, we just need either to let you know that we're including this in the budget, or if you tell us, no, don't include it, whatever, just we all discuss it, tell us what you want us to do. Or do we just
We need to
take
use
on that?
last year, and we cut them out.
I'm gonna make sure that if council is in agreement, make sure we look into the generator to cover the police department, make sure that that's in, I'm not sure since Larry's not here. It doesn't look to me like it is, but
Is the half-ton extended cab for the animal control?
no, this is for public works. Animal control and police are not included in this. Yeah, this is general.
I think we should give them to them. They have to have equipment.
Can't work without tools.
Any comments? Everybody in agreement?
So we're going to buy 2 vehicles and 3 construction vehicles.
Yes. Leasing, yeah, we're leasing.
Leasing.
On the issue of generators, we've also discussed previously the fact that the telemetry system at Public Works needs a backup power supply.
Just this one, back that form, close, okay? We'll do that.
Everybody good with doing that?
Oh, are we doing backup generators too? I'm gonna put backup generator.
Sure.
How many are there?
That's included in the SCADA we were purchasing, the television.
Yes.
The television, sorry.
I think it'll be installed at the Public Works building, but until we actually get, I guess, the plans from whoever's installing it, we don't know, but I think that's going to.
That's what the
I don't think it's going to, I don't think it's going to go into Public Work, I mean, in the wastewater, I think it's going to go into Public Works building, but they haven't told us the already yet. I don't know
Are
yet.
we buying 1 generator?
No, this is a telemetry system for the SCADA. For that.
Right, that does that come with backup power supply of any sort?
We're addressing, that's not going to be the SCADA. The backup one is part of, it's part of right here, in the CIP. Right there, the 15, I think it's 15,000 in the CIP. That is the generator of Public Works. Wherever is that in there? Yes, the backup generators in the CIP paper that looks like this.
Yeah. Okay, that generator provides the power to cool the SCADA monitoring system and power the SCADA display board. But the data that comes to the SCADA comes from the wells and the lift stations, and they don't have generators on them.
Right.
So there's not going to be any data coming there, so you don't need that.
That is one of the questions that we have, but the thing is, what we're getting with the SCADA system is where I don't know where it's going to be installed. The SCADA system, the telemetry system that we're getting, does not have the backup generator.
Right.
That is something different. That's what this 15,000 is. And this one here is going to probably go in the Public Works building that we have over here.
I agree with you.
Not at, yeah.
We're just not communicating.
Yeah, I'm
The
sorry.
29,000 that we spent this year for
Yes.
SCADA has no backup generators.
Correct.
It's just data transfer.
It's just, yes.
Okay. The
Correct.
question is, if we have an extended power outage, we're not able to monitor the SCADA right now, and we're not able to continue pumping water or sewage or pumping water into the tanks because there's no backup generators at all these places. So, like today, we had a water outage. If we had an extended outage for more than a day and a half, our water tank would be empty. We would have no water in the city, and we'd have no way to move the sewage anywhere. And we'd have a humanitarian disaster on our hands. Unless we get backup generators for every lift station, and for every water pumping station, and for the SCADA system at every place in it, we can't really keep the water system working.
I was told we do have it's part of the new wastewater plant. We do have a generator system going in there. Now, I don't know, I have not actually seen it, but that's what I was told. So whether or not that's really the truth.
When I asked Larry at the last meeting, he said we don't have it.
Okay, well,
He said we have a few.
We probably don't have it right now, but I was told when it was going in, I was told that by one of the engineers. Whether or not that's really the truth, I don't know. You know,
Well, it depends on
the plan is not complete yet,
What that
so.
will actually support.
I'm sorry?
It also depends on what that will actually support.
Correct.
Whether it supports pumps or monitors.
Right. So until, I guess it's up and fully running and we know exactly what we have, because we just got the O&M manual, literally, like 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, not even 2 weeks ago, we got the O&M manual. And it's only a draft, so, and I haven't seen anything in there, and I just glanced at it, I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and read it. But it should be addressed in the O&M manual, if it's going into the plant. If it isn't, then I will come back and let Jerry know so that we can, yes, put it in there.
I was given a
And that's gonna be
plan.
expensive, that's gonna run about $100,000 for a big backup generator like that, just FYI, because I've had to put one in other cities.
But there
They're very
wasn't one
expensive.
there when they gave us the tour.
No, it's still not there.
Okay, so I think what we need to address is, and I don't see them on Larry's list, we're talking about generators for the lift station, the pumping stations, SCADA.
Public Works,
Public
police.
Works,
I think that's a
police.
whole different agenda item to talk about, not
City
this.
Hall, yeah.
You know, we don't have any numbers. It's a huge issue.
But I thought you said we have some. They're not
We do,
used.
but they don't use them. They're sitting, go over there by Lenny's
They're not
Field, there's
good.
one over there by that water system, there's another one someplace else, I don't know where it is.
There's three of them. When he took me around, there was 3 generators per
Yeah.
position. But Larry was very clear, that there was not enough generators to power all of the lift stations and pumps and wells where they fill the tank. And he says we'd be out of water in a day and a half.
Correct.
Okay, we would have no way
I
to do
understand, I'm with you. But this is a whole project in itself that's going to be very expensive. So we're going to have to address it as itself. And I'm sorry it's not in here, but that hasn't been any direction given to anybody about what to do. So we can do that later on. What do you want to do about these items? Do you want to give them to Public Works or not? I want to give them to
I'm in
them.
favor of doing it.
Is there anybody opposed to giving this equipment?
Why are we buying Caterpillar?
Leasing?
Why are we leasing Caterpillar?
What do you want to lease?
Well, I don't know. I mean, are we getting the best bang for a dollar?
This is what, you went out there and got this stuff. This is way lower than we thought it was going to be.
Okay. So if we're okay, if we'll move on, if you want to move on to capital projects, and I suggest I would put on here the generators. So what we know is we have capital improvements that have to be done. And we're gonna have to pay for them. That's what we know. So what I'm suggesting is that that today, council gives us direction on their priority list. And I think we all agree that River Bluff is number 1, or at least the majority. of
Number one
it is
electric.
Number 1 electric.
Yeah.
And then give us
The well.
a ranking, and then we'll go back and we'll get, I think we discussed this in council, go back and get financial advisors, engineers, and everybody on getting the pricing, and we'll come back with a plan and an amended budget.
So these capital improvements are the ones from that master plan years ago,
As far as I know, they are.
right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they are. I mean, this looks like it would.
This is all from
Yeah, I know, I just want to make
It just
it
carries.
I know the one is, for sure.
Yeah.
So what does this looping mean?
We're gonna loop the water line.
Oh, that's the water line.
So water projects, we have I'll just go through it real quick. Water line, we have on this list, the Highway 90 looping, the meter replacement program, airport plant distribution, Cross Hill distribution, and East Side elevated storage tank. Wastewater, we have system upgrades, backup generators. We're gonna have to add that generators, we know what that is, and I'm not sure what system upgrades will mean. Electric projects, River Bluff, Country Village, and repair. Gas line testing, repair, and then we have the total. So, this meter replacement program, we have money, the bond, we've got $1 million in the bond, and where,
The water line replacement.
yes.
There's $1 million left in that. To be released.
So with the, we would have to go back out and find, Larry says he has nothing to do all the meters, this looks like it's just water. We can't keep the meter, for one thing.
You what?
We can't keep a meter reader. This would enable us to read meters here at the city, basically. Within 2 hours, we can read the entire city. This is just a question. Would council be agreeable to let us go look into this and possibly using that money to pay for this?
Let's give them a little background on this. How many water meters do we have in the city? What was that number?
1338 meters.
And she says
25%
this is what we're
commercial.
capturing.
Water meters?
Yeah.
Just
Just
water.
water.
Yeah, so let's just talk water. So she thinks that's low. We got 3,000 people, and historically, from all the cities she's been in,
Well, Bandera, for instance, they are population 857. They have, when I left, they had 1,018 connections with a population of 857.
so listen, we talk about this, and we can replace every water meter in this city and map every water meter in this city with self-reading ones that can be read from City Hall, and it would pay for itself. It would not cost, I hate to use that term, not cost us a dime, but the money for the meter readings and everything else, and how many more customers will capture that are not being read out there right now. And we did the math, and as part of this capital improvement, and Larry told us the figure just to do the water side of it was $500,000. The debt service, we figured, if you figure 20 years at 4%, it was less than what we're paying the employee to pay it. Then we would actually capture more water. Because I think we're missing the boat on water. I don't think we're getting paid for what.
And we have meters out there that are showing no consumption.
Yeah.
And then those would be caught here at City Hall. We wouldn't have to, go out there and the meters getting read, the meters not getting read, or whatever's happening, or somebody, it had a zero consumption this month, so it must be fine this month.
So we can take half of that remaining money that's in that current water line replacement project that's not going to be used and pay for this completely.
Yes,
And that includes the installation.
yes.
Everything. And
No,
they'll
we-
map it.
Yeah.
They'll map it for us.
Why didn't we, this problem, I understand today, was because we didn't replace the water lines. Why didn't we do that? Why do we have water extra money?
No, I'm talking about the meters.
I know, but this money you said came.
The water line project she's referring to, you said,
Why
yeah,
do
we had $1 million
This
left.
money, why do we have money left? We have these issues still with water line.
We don't have enough money in there to replace what's left, because we can go get more money, but it increases our debt service.
So
We've completed what we contracted out,
how
but
much is left?
there's $1 million.
No, I mean, how much water?
How many more water line pipes have to be changed?
Guys, you're asking the wrong person. I don't know more, no, that's a Larry question.
Because the pipe that burst today was one that we didn't replace. right?
No, it is not.
That was an 8-inch line. I don't think we replaced any 8-inch lines on this.
Yeah. There's a ton of lines we haven't, I think, don't quote me, but I think it was 30% we
And
replaced.
so meter reader thing is more important than fixing these? We can't fix them, they're saying, so we need to do,
If we're missing meters.
These are separate issues.
no, I know, but the money is money from the line replacement.
But it really sounds like.
We could use that for that, but we don't have to. It could be a separate item. It will pay for itself is what I'm saying. We're not going to treat debt service. We're going to, if we could, all right, let's look at several capital improvement projects. If you wanted to do River Bluff Electric and you wanted to do the meter replacement, I think we start with water this year, do the water replacement this year, and next year budget to do the electric. And then we get rid of all this manual labor. And these things are cost effective to do. If we want to do, if you want to do more water line replacement, then we can get more money on that loan, Water Development Board money, is that the proper term? We can go out there and get another 10 million, but that's gonna,
But it's not a question of wanting. It's a question of what are essential things that need to be fixed here. What are the essentials?
Electric.
What's the airport plant thing?
I don't know, with the top, these are, my priority that I labeled was River Bluff Electric, number one. Number two would be the east side storage and a well. I think that we should put a well out there. Huh?
What is that, east side, you mean like a tower?
East side elevated storage tank.
Water system on these.
But I think we should put a well out there with it. If we're gonna have to replace this well at Public Works,
Oh,
let's
so
put it
that's
out
what this
there.
is. Okay.
That's just the elevated storage. But I think those and the water looping, we should have information on that.
And why do we need to do that one?
Water looping for pressure. None of the systems, we have 3 systems on the east side of the city that none of them are hooked into each other, so they don't communicate, or they don't support one another. So that's the study. Was that, you were here for that, Phyllis? That was what we had Mike Persine doing.
Yeah. So all this money is in the pot.
No, not in that number.
So this
There's a
total.
lot of stuff in there that's not what I'm talking about.
But the essential thing that we really need to do, in my opinion, also is River Bluff.
River Bluff Electric, and I want to, you know, before all these failures with the electric system up there, we talked about doing the Athens Street drainage.
Now, that's another issue.
I think that it needs to be stepped down a rank, but I think we should support doing some sort of design phase to look at doing it in a near future after that, maybe the 3rd year or something. It's going to take that long to get there, but it needs to have a process that starts this moving. But
Streets?
that's in the budget. We've got money to do streets, wherever we want to allocate that to. If you want to rebuild streets and do one street for $500,000, that's what we'll do next year. If you want to continue the chip seal, we'll do it. But right now, that's not.
Can we go back to Athens Street for a minute?
Yes.
The last time we were briefed, it was estimated that it would be about a $3 million project
Yes.
to go down Geneva Street to the road.
Yes.
That was the recommended solution. It seems to me that about $200,000 would cover the design and engineering phase. It would probably take them a little over a year to do that. If we could find a way to get that, break it into 2 phases or maybe even 3 phases, and try to do the $200,000 first phase in next year's budget, that's going to take them a whole year to do.
I would support that.
And it would show the people in the town, which we haven't forgotten, we know we got to do it, and we got to do the design and engineering first. So that's what we're going to do.
And I think you could actually build that system from the bottom up. In other words, you could start at the river, go back to capture that water, get it to the river, and then
Whatever they do.
next stage.
But they got to have a plan.
You wouldn't have to do it all in one lick, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we can do it in phases. We can break the 2.8 million that's remaining into 2 or 3 phases, and like you say, start at the river and work your way up. I think that's a great idea. But the engineers have got to design it first.
All right,
And
so-
put a price tag on it.
But
I'm good with that.
But is that the only, Athens is popular and famous because you have people pushing it. There's a lot of other drainage issues that are just as bad. So I don't think we should
Okay.
jump into Athens
No.
and not look at the others.
No, I don't either. But let's stay on focus as far as what we have to get done in this year's budget. And I believe number 1 is River Bluff Electric.
Okay, do we have to do it all in one lick?
Yes,
We do?
it's failing.
Okay, my question is, some people aren't out of electricity in River Bluff.
They aren't what?
They aren't out of electricity in River Bluff. I know a resident that's never lost electricity in River
I
Bluff.
understand that,
But I'm trying to understand why part of it is,
Go look at it.
has that part been fixed that she lives on?
I think there has been some.
We've done some patching, we've run some lines, but let's go with, go up there with Larry and have him show it. You need to look at it. We have to.
I'm all for it. I mean, electricity to me is paramount.
All right, so
We can put some of this other
If
stuff
we-
off, but
if we can do that, Jerry will get with the financial advisor to give us some financing options to do it. You've heard me talk about that certificate of obligation that's coming due in 3 years, 2023. We can wrap around that, and we can take care of this. I would like to do
I got another question.
I would like to do the water meters this year. It pays for itself. There's enough revenue to do it, and we get rid of an employee. We don't have to have
I
that.
agree.
Right.
So you're reading 1,338 water meters right now, or
Yes.
that's what you got reported.
Yes.
What makes you think you're gonna capture any of those by putting electronic meters? If you haven't captured them with a real
No.
person?
Because I don't think they're being read properly. And I don't believe that we are reading all the meters that are out there. Part of this program that they will map every meter, every service in this town, city, and we will know where every one of them is. And I think that there'll be a eye-awakening experience when it's done.
What I think is happening is the meter reader, and I don't think it was Dawn. I think Dawn was doing a great job, but before her, the meter reader had the handheld. And they go to the address that was on the handheld. And there was an address that maybe wasn't on the handheld, and they would skip it. Because that meter, for some reason, we didn't have recorded. It happens it happens, that's what, I've had it happen in other places also, so we're not capturing it, and I just think we've had some.
This meter reader is something coming new, because it wasn't on our capital improvement.
It's brand new.
So why don't we do the things that we need to do that have been on it for a while
We are.
before we do?
I tell you what,
Because it pays for itself, though. It doesn't require any new revenue for it.
I'm just worried about the water lines. If you have prepared it,
If you want to,
stuff like this.
if you want to do the water lines, we're going to have to get more money. And it's not 1 million. It's, and this 1 million that's left on the Water Development Board, that can't do the water meters. We can't use that for that. We can't use it for the water meters.
Why not?
Because that's not what those funds are for.
my understanding.
You think it is?
We probably have to submit another PIF.
Yeah, my understanding was that there was a conversation made with them that said that they would be agreeable to letting us do that, but
If you want to do more,
Well, I'm kind of like Phyllis, just in the fact that, okay, you got $1 million still there in that fund, so we haven't used, why not do $1 million worth of work?
we can do it, but you're going to need to add more.
Not this year.
We did partial already. Why shouldn't we do partial?
What was the total amount of that loan?
For the water?
Yeah.
Water Improvement District, that was,
How much?
There's one that we had for $1.5 million from the water development board, and then there was another that was $3 million. The first one I think was $3 million. $3 million.
We have 3 million, 3 million.
And then going back to what is it,
We got like
1.5 for the lift station?
she's gonna go get
I think it's, I thought it was like 6
I'm
million.
just trying to be devil's
Total
advocate.
net, total
That's, I'm
net.
good, it's okay with
But the lift station on the top, I don't care about.
Right,
that.
we had got a second loan for that.
Water replacement, how much did it cost and why didn't we complete it?
Well, we did complete, and when we had that person bid on it, they were able to do some extra things for us, and we were able to save some money. That's why we have some.
That's why you have-
Like we started with the
Yes.
project, got the money, finished the project, had money
It's
left
not
over.
finished if we didn't replace the line.
It's
We
finished
replaced
what we
everything that was
contracted.
scheduled.
Right, they went out and did an assessment.
They did as
The
much
city
work as they
engineer
were
went out
asked
and
to
did an
do.
assessment of our
And they
lines,
saved,
and that's what
they
they
saved
they spent all the money.
But we're still having big issues.
Well, this could be in the ground, I mean, I'm not sure the high.
And I can understand what Tim said.
Water line replacement is about 3.8, including the production and development.
And that was, we don't know how many lines we actually have, but we did a third of them, you know.
Don't quote that figure. That's to my best recollection what it was. Please don't,
So-
that's not.
No, I'm saying it here, I just want to know, because to me, water lines are more important than
Okay,
a meter.
so maybe, okay, I put on here water lines. So if we go back to that, let's just say, if we were to do all this, we moved River Bluff from 2022 to 2019, next year. Would these timeframes be agreeable to you?
So we'll be doing all of these?
If we were, I'm not saying we can, or if we were, but if we tie down the timeframe, and then,
Let's see.
Let's shoot,
Thank you.
so, do we want to do the looping in 19? And then
We have to do that immediately.
Meter replacement, well, we may or may not, we're just going to leave it here for the moment. Airport plant distribution, I don't know.
What is that?
I believe it's the wastewater treatment plant that was planned for the airport.
Oh, it's that.
That's my understanding.
Repeat that, please.
I believe that was the wastewater treatment plant that was planned for the airport. That was before my time. But there was a treatment plant.
Instead of the lift station?
originally they were
No,
going to move it.
this is the
out.
second.
Additional.
Additional.
Well, we're getting that affluent beds and banks stuff, so just blow this off, so we don't figure out if we need this.
I don't think we need to address that.
Take that one off.
Are you, so you want to do, you want to do more water lines?
I'm just throwing that out.
Look at what's happened. I mean, today's a perfect example. One,
So the cross-hill distribution in 23, is that agreeable?
what is that?
What?
Cross-hill distribution?
What is it?
No, right now, we can't get water up on Cross Hill.
Do we care?
People on the property.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry.
Let's on
That's out of 2023.
That's way out.
Yeah, that's way out.
You're talking,
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get the timelines here.
I think
because
you got
it's-
everything in here that just.
And I'm trying to think about the time frames, because it's going to be important when we go out for the minutes. So one, and where do we think right now? The east side elevated storage tank next year?
That's important, right?
Okay.
Is it?
Yes, I mean,
okay. If we're going to have to, think of this, what is our main goal that we're trying to do? Create revenue for us to cover expenses, right? And if we don't get water out on that east side, nobody's going to develop any commercial real estate. There's no water pressure out there. They can't do it. So we have to do the looping, we have to do a storage tank, and we have to do some type of well to replace what we've lost. Now, I think that there's a very strong possibility that this can be covered in development agreements.
So far, what's really important, you're saying, is the looping. That's important.
Yeah.
Elevated water tank.
I think it's important, and I think we'll have that covered in a development agreement.
so,
Do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the number one thing is Riverbrook Electric. I would ask you to do this water meter replacement. I think that's a critical thing for the city for revenue, and it's cost effective.
How much is the brakes costing us?
The break,
The water line
I don't
brakes?
know.
So, okay, so the country village.
All right, Phyllis, if we were gonna go out today to do water lines in the city, it's 3 years out.
What?
It's 3 years out, at least. By the time you approve it, and they do the engineering, and they go up, we're 3 years. That's, the water meters we could do, and something that we have a proposal for, we could do in.
When you say we,
The city, we could do it.
who contracted out?
Yes, that's in that proposal, that $570,000 number.
But it's
And-
not our employees doing that as much. Well,
Oh, yeah, no, this is a contract. They'll come and map the system, put every one of the meters on a map, and it's completely automated. It'll pay for itself. This is a no-brainer decision. This is an easy one. Now, if you guys want to do more, you support that?
I support the idea of doing,
and we're gonna take that million out of the,
Okay,
we don't
so,
know.
No, we need a financial advisor to tell us what to do.
okay, so here's what.
We might not be able to touch that money.
Here's what I, yes, yes, we might not. We think we can, but we might not. Okay, here's what I propose to do.
Okay, it doesn't matter because, I mean, it does matter, but it'll pay for itself.
If you wanted to take that million though, that's why you were saying it would pay for itself.
If we use it for that, but if she said she wanted to do water lines, but we can't use that for that, this is gonna be 3 years from now. It'll take us that long to get through the development process, am I right?
It's gonna take 1 year just to submit the plans and the PIF to the Texas Water Development Board. 1 year.
To replace water lines?
No, to even approve the project.
Really?
It takes that long.
Wow.
Yes. Because the first thing we'd have to do is go out for RFQs. Once you get the RFQs and you sit down with the engineers, your bond counsel, and your financial advisor, and you have to have RFQs for each one of these. I just did this in Bandera, so I know. And then after that, it takes literally 1 year. You have to submit what's called a PIF. It's a project information form. And then what you do is the financial advisor and, the city sits down with that PIF to outline in detail what needs to be done. Then it has to go back to the Texas Water Development Board to be approved. So then they get all their engineers and all their accountants in there. So
I
that's
get it,
what.
it takes a long time.
But that's the process.
But my question is, going back to the 1 million, okay, what do you do with that 1 million? If you can't use it for replacing meters, it just sits there.
Okay.
If you give us, if you say that we can go forward and bring back information for it, because this can't be approved without it coming back to council.
Okay,
Get
I'm
the
good with that.
information. Let's get it and see what it's gonna
I'm
cost.
good with that.
something I think we would be making a big mistake doing is now that we finished the water line project, going back and digging up the same places, put in more pipes. We're gonna look like a bunch of clowns.
No, this is on the side. This is the meter. All of this is
No, he's talking about
I'm
water line
talking about that $1 million
replacement.
that's left.
for doing water lines.
For water.
Yeah.
I think
So
we
you
should
don't
leave
think
well
right
enough
now,
alone.
people are, think we're imbeciles because we're having water breaks?
He's trying to say is we
If
should have.
the engineers can identify specific pipes that are a threat,
They said they couldn't.
then we should just keep that money in reserve, and if we have another emergency, we use it. But
Tell your
how we're gonna have to pay for the stuff today, it's probably gonna come out of that money, isn't it?
Okay, so we don't know at this point what the water development board will allow us to use. Right? They won't let us use it for repairing.
Oh.
They will probably let us use it to replace something that,
But
we don't
again,
know.
you have to submit a pivot, even
You're
so
gonna
the
take
leftover
what?
money.
And it's
Okay.
not River Bluff. River Bluff doesn't have that problem. We don't have old pipes.
Not
It's you
yet.
guys.
Not
I'm
yet.
pushing for your pipes, not mine.
Okay,
What
so,
about your electric system?
Well, I know.
I got a
but
question.
Pipes are your areas,
Who
not
put
mine.
River Bluff Improvement, the
Your
electrical.
guys. Okay.
Where did we come up with this number?
What number?
2.792
Where?
for the River Bluff improvements, the electrical.
That's an old number.
Yeah, capital,
that's what I'm saying, we have to.
That's an old number.
That's an old number.
That's like a couple of years old.
Older.
So we're talking maybe
Well, Larry said.
Larry said 3.5.
Yeah,
3.5 million?
Yes.
with the four
Look,
phases project.
what I suggest, let's give staff direction to bring the River Bluff Electric back to us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
The water meters, get the financial advisor to tell us what we gotta do.
We can do the million?
And we are working on the Highway 90 water looping. We should have information from our engineer at our next meeting. That information is available pretty soon.
We might be able to use that $1 million on that.
Yes, we could use that on that. And that's an important one. In the well and storage, the well, Larry told me was gonna be 700,000. Storage, but I think I can get those taken care of in a development agreement.
And we're certain that the well that we have that's supposedly no good can't be used for, we can't fix it.
I don't know.
With the perforated
That's
casing-
another issue that I think we need more information for.
With the perforated
I know we gotta have a well on
I
that side.
I just can't fathom that you got a hole in the ground already, and you can't fix what's there.
Well, you can.
The casing's
I
all
don't
rusted
care how
out.
many times you gotta fix it, it's gotta be cheaper than $700,000.
The problem is the steel pipe's 80 years old and it's rusting out. We've
Okay,
already fixed it.
let's put another steel pipe in.
So
No, we just fixed it last year.
Yeah,
It failed.
$28,000.
Huh?
$28,000.
We spent $28,000 on that hole already, and it didn't last a year. We got another hole now.
So the only other way to use it would be, as you said, put another casing inside of it, pump concrete back up the outside of it. That's going to be a significant amount of cost. It also reduces the size of your well, your production.
It won't produce anything.
So we can't do it?
You can do it, but it won't be the kind of
Reduce its capacity.
production well that you're getting water out of now.
So what do I do with the seaside elevated storage tank?
That's nothing to do with that.
That would have to.
I know, so I'm gonna throw that out and worry about the well.
No, the engineer brought that to us, they said, if you want to equalize pressure across the city, on the other side of the river, we're gonna have to put a pressure tank in that side of the river. And that's gonna be part of the looping process ultimately. is
So
to-
this has nothing to do with repairing that well and residual issues.
No.
That will probably have to be abandoned.
And then you did mention that the last thing that we'd like to try to stick back into this year's budget is phase 1 of the Geneva Street flood control.
What's Geneva Street?
After flood control.
I'd like to do some
Planning and
planning on
engineering
that,
phase.
so that, yeah, a planning stage.
Maybe $200,000 at the most.
This year,
If we could.
that would have to come out of city funds.
I don't think the
And
engineer,
maybe reduce it to 50,000, or whatever we could find to put in there to get it started.
I would hope that the design phase of that wouldn't cost more than $50,000.
Whatever you
You
think.
better look at everybody before you just do Athens. Because, like I said, you've got vocal people that came up with Athens, and I've had a lot of other people that heard about Athens now because it was in the newspaper that have even worse issues. And then you're gonna get all that backlog domino effect, so maybe we need to do a drainage project first, or whatever you call
I
it.
would support to do a preliminary assessment, which would
Yeah.
probably be 25,000 or so, you know.
I think we really
Plug
should
that number in,
before.
and let's do that. You agree with that, Todd?
Yes.
Phyllis?
I am, yeah, I think we need to assess the whole
Yep.
thing.
Okay.
I
All right,
also
so-
see, as you said, River Bluff has the highest priority, electronic meters, Highway 90 looping third, and
Well, and storage.
water storage in Athens.
You guys got a clear direction, talk about the budget, right?
Yeah. Those pipes for
Are you good? You
new
understand?
meters, but not just water.
Should I make a proposal? No, I'm not making a proposal. I'm just-
I got another question.
Hold on, Jerry wants to say.
Okay.
Here's what I think.
D.F. Hutton is speaking.
I think this is what we need to do. Okay, streets and drainage is general fund. Okay, we do a preliminary assessment on streets and drainage. That's separate. We come up with a plan for that, then we determine how we're gonna finance it. As far as these are utility funds, we have our direction as to what we need to go first, which is pretty much what's on here, except for moving River Bluff to 2019. We get our financial advisors and our engineers to tell us how and when we can finance this thing. We pull into it the bonds, the bond that we have, the $1 billion, what we can use that for, developer agreements, try to determine what we do development areas, what we can spend with fund balance, and then how we get the additional debt. So basically, we get contract, the engineers and the financials on board to give us a plan to move forward, to bring back to council and say, Ellie, here's how we're going to pay for what you want us to do in these years. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Yeah.
We done?
I'm done.
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
Another question. Paul mentioned something about something was in the works to phase, do the River Bluff phases.
I think that.
That fourth phase started,
They started it years ago.
That makes your heart.
It's some of them.
that first
And we
phase
never
was started
finished
4 years ago,
Never
they
did.
dropped the project. Full funding in the next year.
We need to do something.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, and why you got the country village on there?
Because they were also
Because
evaluating.
Country Village is just as all.
We never had an, I never had
Yes, we did. We just lost one last summer. Listen to me. We lost the same, we have an underground line going up last summer.
Yeah.
The same thing that happened at Riverwood.
Yeah.
This is how it progressed at Riverwood. First it started with one every once in a while. Last year we had 3, now we've had 1 this summer. Same thing's gonna happen over there. It's just they're not as bad. We gotta be proactive and we gotta consider this.
In 2012, we did the assessment, and part of the assessment was that the city employees itself could replace some of the transformers because they were having some outage, and that helped. But then there was the next phases that have now come to pass. They doubled this one for River Bluff to try to get an idea because it's been since 2012, and they estimated it was going to be probably around 1.5 million to do that. The whole thing.
Can we send us that?
I have a copy of it, it's very working.
One thing, what I want to forget is, I'm going to add into here the water lines. Because we know we need to assess our water lines. So
Just worried about it.
if we want to look at water lines, I'm going to put that, what year, 2023?
We probably already have it.
We'll look into it, and if we'll put this into the plan. If we have it, we pull that in, and if that's what y'all want to do.
Well, it's not me, because it's their area. But it's them, the old part.
The old folks.
I read something recently about this. Once you make run for, listen to me, you make run for election in your district, but once you are elected, you represent the whole city. There isn't any districts that you represent.
I agree with you.
You're responsible for the whole city.
I want those to have electricity.
Oh, I really, my electricity's fine.
Okay,
It's just like your phone.
we're going to adjourn
Thank goodness.
4:12 p.m.
Where are you buying dinner?
You already bought, thanks for lunch, by the way.
Yeah.